Good morning to all of those who are up early enough to be watching Safari Live, and of course, welcome to the Sunrise Safari. My name is Taylor McCurdy, and on camera with me today is Sebastian, and of course, we're obviously on bushwalk today. As you can see, for those of you that have never joined us on one of these live and interactive safaris, it's good to have you. Hashtag Safari Live on Twitter, or if you'd like to also talk to us, you can talk to us via the YouTube chat. Now, very exciting things have been happening. I've heard lions calling from my room. There was a leopard soaring at one point, and well, the hyenas haven't stopped talking all morning. We found leopard tracks so far. They in fact come all the way past the final control, past where we park all the cars at night, and down through the drainage. And it does look like it's maybe a big male leopard. And we think he's come to Galagopan, because that's the small little watering hole that we're standing at. It's a man-made one, as you can see. They've made it with concrete. And this is something typically that you will see outside lodges. And if you look behind us, you'll actually see one of the lodges on Djuma, which is Galago. Beautiful deck. And lots of animals come here to use it. Now, of course, it's not just Seb and I out on the bushwalk this morning. Herbie is always with us. There he is, keeping us nice and safe today. But we're going to keep on these tracks of either leopards or lions, whoever we can find. First, I'm going to send you to Steve, who's got a beautiful view of the sun rising.
A very good morning to all of you good people out there, and welcome once again. This is Safari Live, and we are watching the sunrise in the east. Isn't that glorious? I'm sure Taylor's told you already, but please send your questions through to hashtag Safari Live or follow us on YouTube stream. It's a beautiful morning in Djuma, Greater Kruger National Park, Sabi Sands, South Africa. My name is Steve Falconbridge. Welcome, and I'm joined by Dave on camera, and we are out. We have been hearing all sorts of wonderful sounds in the morning. It is a nice and cool morning. I think it's about 17 degrees Celsius, 64 degrees Fahrenheit. It is a relatively cool morning, and the animals have been calling. We have got tracks, we have got signs, we have got sounds. We are now up in the northern boundary with Buffelshoek. We heard lions calling from the north, so Dave and I have come here to see if we can find anything moving, calling, shouting, screaming, doing whatever it is they might do. And we also joined out there by Brent, who's on the tracks of leopard at the moment, and Herbie and Taylor as well on the tracks of some cats. So hopefully we'll be able to find you some wonderful things on this Monday morning in March of 2018. Jump aboard for an exciting morning, and while we do that and move along here, let's go over to Brent, who would like to say good morning.
Well, morning. We started tracking off the Hukumuri male leopard this morning. He went through camp. Sorry, I forgot. My name's Brent Smith. I've got the Batman on camera, and we've just heard alarm calls now, and we had very fresh female leopard tracks. It could be Shidulu. I've left Herbie and Taylor on Hukumuri's tracks, and we're doing a loop around. We just had Franklin's explode out of these quarry thickets, and really fresh tracks of that female leopard. Remember, this is 100% live. And you can ask us questions on Twitter using the hashtag Safari Live, or just pop it on whichever feed you are watching on. So let's just have a quick look there. Franklin burst out of the grass just in here. Now, they took off and flew out, which means they're not running from an avian predator like an African hawk eagle, but something on the ground. So there's a possibility it could be a slender mongoose or a leopard. There's a termite down there with my binoculars. I'm going to try to get a gap. And leopards often like to sit on that particular termite mound under the large scotia tree. I'm going to switch off for a second and just listen, because even the little birds like the cisticulars and the waxbills will make a noise when they see a leopard. It's very thick at the base of that tree, so I'm just checking carefully. All's quiet. Could have been a slender mongoose. Or there's just not lots of little birds to alarm. But I've got a good feeling. It's quite fresh this morning. It's sort of almost like the change of the seasons is here. And winter is on its way. Now, Okamuri was calling this morning all around camp, so hopefully he gives us another saw to make it a bit easier. And that's a great thing about having the bushwalk team out there on foot as well, is that because they're on foot, they don't have the sound of the vehicle. They can often hear those calls and alarm calls that we might miss while driving. Okay, so I'm going to keep searching for these leopards with the aid of Herbie and Taylor. While we do that, yesterday Steve had one of the most incredible sightings of a new little buffalo coming into the world. So let's go see how he's feeling after a night to ponder.
I am absolutely G'd up this morning, ladies and gentlemen. What we saw last night is probably one of the most magical creations of life I've ever seen. Very, very fortunate to have been part of that, and we got it live for you. It was an unbelievable afternoon. I am still excited, Christine. You're still excited. I'm still excited. It was the topic of conversation when we got back last night. Everyone was blown away. New birth. I think I was even called an uncle by a few people. So Uncle Steve, I have my own nephew buffalo. I'm not sure if it was a male or female, but unbelievable to have seen. To be a part of that makes me feel very, very special. And I believe it is the first buffalo birth caught by Safari Live. That is what I've heard so far. So a marvelous feat that we've been able to add that to the repertoire of incredible sightings already. So we are on the northern boundary of Buffelshoek. We haven't heard anything further from the lions earlier. Our camp is kind of in that direction, and I heard them calling, and then they called again. They were a bit further east, but the temperature is relatively cool. The air pressure is very low at the moment, so the distance with which these calls can travel can be quite far. So it's possible that they're still further north than us, but it was too much to risk not coming to investigate. And once we've checked the area, we will move on to whatever else presents itself. Okay, so seeing as the last two bushwalks we've had have been very successful for Leopard on foot, let's go over to Taylor on her bushwalk and see what she has for you.
I don't know, Steve, are you hoping that we're going to be successful? Or is it a challenge? I don't know. Anyways, we've stumbled across a crime scene before we can even find any tracks of the lions just yet. And it is an African land snail that is in bits and pieces. So, obviously something must have eaten it. Who? Now, we were just chatting as who we think could have been the culprit. And the way that it is smashed up like it is, we're going to go with probably southern ground hornbill. Now, I have been looking for some tracks around here, but the ground is quite hard, so it does make it difficult to, of course, confirm this. But just the way that it has been broken up quite a bit. There aren't too many birds out here that have got very powerful beaks, like the southern ground hornbill. Lots of different types of birds will, of course, try and eat snails, but to be able to crush it and open their mouth wide enough with such a large snail, I think it can only be one bird. So that's quite cool. So maybe we even get to see them. Perhaps this happened yesterday sometime, and maybe they're up roosting in some of these big dead trees. There's some great spots for those hornbills to roost up on. And now, I think we're probably gonna carry on towards Herbie. But I have one more thing to show you. There we go. Have a look what's happening here. Alaramo, you said it's a little bit of a Humpty Dumpty shelf. Now, in there, in this buffalo thorn, is the tiniest little web you've ever seen. Well, I've seen smaller ones, but it's quite little. Now, it can be quite tricky to try and identify who's living there, but I can clearly see that it's almost like a triangular shape, and in the middle of the web is another layer sort of laying horizontally. So to me that says that this must be a tiny little tropical tent web spider that has developed this little web. I was trying to look for it, and I think it must just be in one of these curled up leaves. You can actually see how it's brought the leaves together. See that, how it's added them together? And that will, of course, provide some great protection during the heat of the day. If it starts to pour with rain, that's a nice little cozy spot that spider can go and hide into. And it seems to be doing fairly well. I mean, it's eating very small things, but I could see a few little midges that have been captured in that web. And probably some caterpillars, maybe some small caterpillar larvae. There's definitely caterpillar feces in there. So whatever's feeding on the buffalo thorn at the moment could also be potential prey for that little tropical tent web spider. Right. Going to keep one of these. Little scrub hair pellet. When we need to test the wind, it's my favorite thing to use. I do have a little eyedropper, which I use too, but if I can use things from the bush, probably going to take that. Right, I'm going to go over the log. Now Sebastian's got to weave his way through a network of fallen trees and things. We're trying to walk on animal pathways, but they're not so prominent this way. I think the hippos have been doing a good enough job, unfortunately. Right. And this would be a great spot for those hornbills to come through here, because they can turn logs like this upside down, which they will. They're strong enough. I didn't really need much to pull that over. It doesn't look like there's really much going on here. A couple of little ants here and there. Can't even see any termites. So no scorpions, no lizards, nothing under here. It would be enticing, but that's what those birds will do as they move around. Is turn things over, peck at loose bark, and try and find something delicious to feed on.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm just going very slowly and stopping and listening. I'm convinced that at least one of these leopards is very close by. So I'm just trying to hear anything that might give away their position. The sun's starting to pop up to the east of us. Isn't the dawn chorus beautiful? These more upset francolins behind us. I'm going to double check there quickly. So the last tracks of that female leopard duck into the thickets here, probably almost directly opposite us. And we've had different sets of francolin alarming as we've been going on. Now we might have just missed her. It is quite thick, the grass is quite long here. I just want to double check. As I said, it could be a slender mongoose, could even be a predatory bird, but the fact that there are so many francolin alarm calls in sort of a progressive line makes me think it could be this female leopard. Let's just stop and listen here. Now, Vikisha's wondering, are francolins reliable sources for alarm calls? Vikisha, yes and no. In any of your smaller animal alarm calls, squirrels, cisticulars, francolins, can be unreliable because they're so small. They are fed on by a whole host of different things. Mongoose and birds of prey, but they will still alarm call at leopards. And the fact we've got very fresh leopard tracks in the same area, it's an impala, in the same area, makes me a little bit more suspicious. Now at least we know there's impala around, and if we hear them start snorting, we know that the leopards are definitely here. But alas, nothing yet. So let's keep checking towards impala plains. It's very exciting. I love the chase early in the morning. And must remember always though, while chasing leopards, it's always lovely to have a cup of tea. Now, of course, all three of us are on the hunt, on the chase this morning. So let's see how Steve's hunt is going.
Brent, don't we all enjoy the chase in the morning? That's why they call it game out here, the wildlife, because it's a game to them. And really, we have done it for a very, very long time. Before game viewing started, it was the hunt, it was the chase, it was the track and the stalk. Doing it for the benefit of you viewers at home and for filming. But I'm going on leave this afternoon, so this is my last morning for about 10 days. So I would really like to find you something very, very special. And a male lion would really fit that key. We're just going to drive past a landowner here who's probably on his way out. Good morning. How are you? Thanks, you too. He's probably on his way out after spending the evening in one of his camps. Hyena tracks. We are looking for lion tracks, not hyenas. But we've covered almost the entire northern boundary so far, and I'm thinking it's possible that the lions I heard calling were a little bit further north than we are now. They can travel up to 5-6 kilometers. So what's that, about 3 odd miles? Especially when temperatures, air temperatures and pressures quite low, they can travel quite fast. It's a very good possibility that they were further north than I had thought initially. But that's not a problem. We are going to be going into Buffelshoek Dam shortly, have a look at what's going on there, and then we shall recap. I'm sure Brent and Herbie are having some good luck and good success in their trip of who they think is Hukumund. I'd like to know exactly how we tell. Hey, Dave? Yeah.
Well, welcome back. It seems like there's a few gremlins about this morning. No, that's a pile of elephant dung, not leopard. But we're going very, 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 very slowly along here. We're checking very carefully. And if we find no tracks here, we can be certain that they're still in this block to the north of us. So the last tracks of Hukumuri were just down here. Oh, we got some hyena. Let's see, what have we got here? Now, Joe's wondering what time of coffee I drink. Joe, I've actually gone off coffee over the last while. I'm drinking tea. Oh, what tea do I drink? Good old English breakfast, although I am partial to an early grey every now and again. And I call it early grey, not Earl Grey, because I've got a friend called Johan in Kloof. He used to work with James and I at Londolozi, and he refused to call Earl Grey Earl Grey. He only called it Early Grey, and I found out from my brother he's now one of the butlers at Chitwa. Okay. So no sign of the tracks here. And I know Herbie and Taylor are just down there. So we're just going to keep checking towards Impala Plains. It's not uncommon that there's a big game path that runs parallel to the road in the thickets there, that they might take that. instead of walking down the road. And it comes out at Impala Plains, so we're going to head there. Lots of elephant tracks around, lots of noises of ellies throughout the night. Now, while we stop for another little listen, we've got a very pretty little bird. Hello, little shrike. Don't you dare fly away. Here we go, male red-backed shrike. Whoop, hopping about. Looking for some early morning insects. Now, as I say, we're just having a quick listen. And so far, only the birds calling. Now, Nina would like to know which bird calls the most melodious. Definitely not the red-backed shrike. It depends, but I'd say your robins and your robin chats have incredibly beautiful melodious calls. And the white-throated robin chat and the white-browed scrub robin and the... Oh, now I'm trying to remember what its new name is. Well, it used to be called Huguenot's robin, white-browed robin chat. So you got a white-browed scrub robin, a white-browed robin chat as well, just to confuse matters. Those three, I would say, are probably the most melodious in the Sabi Sands. Unfortunately, we don't see white-browed robin chats too often. I'm trying to think if I've ever seen one up here. No, I haven't even heard one. But down on the major rivers, you get them quite frequently. Okay. No clues, well, audio clues, just yet. So we're going to keep checking. While we do that, Steve has made his way to one of the Nkuhuma's favorite hangouts.
Yes, thanks, Brent. We are indeed at Buffelshoek Dam. No sign of any lions around here, but a nice place to stop for a spot of birding and to have a look at the resident hippos. Have a listen to the birds around. Blacksmith lapwing, emerald spotted wood dove, and tell Franklin, the churr of the crested barbet. Absolutely beautiful morning. Beautiful reflections off the dam. And as the sun rises, it feels like it's going to be a lot warmer than we anticipated. It was quite a cool morning. The birds are shouting their territory. We had the lions calling their territory. And Herbie had the leopard as well, calling its territory. So definitely a night of calling and sounds. Animals can feel that the coolness is coming. Brent said winter is here. Kalena, this is very beautiful and very peaceful. There's a little, we've got a chase on here, Darby. You see that small raptor is busy chasing. Wonder if you can get it. Very difficult. It's just landed in the tree there.
Yeah, got him.
It's like an African goshawk. We've tried to take the African hoopoe out of the sky, And then the fork-tailed drongo delivered an aggressive riposte from the right. Now sits in the tree licking its wounds. Are you looking at the one on the left?
Yeah, right at the
Very good. Very good. What a... Morning, Africa. Marvelous morning it's going to be. Being watched by the...
Oh, sorry about that, everybody. I'm not quite sure what happened there. We were, of course, just waiting for you guys to come to us eventually. Whew, that was a bit of a surprise. But anyways, look what we have got. We have got a little spider sitting on a piece of grass. Now, I'm uncertain as to what species of spider this is. Initially, I thought, oh, cool, a jumping spider, one of my favorites. But it's not. It's like it might be in the orb family. There are so many different species of orb web spiders out here. And it hasn't got a web, though. This was the other thing. It hasn't got a massive web. But it is sitting on an egg sac, which is significantly larger than the spider itself. So to me, this says that it's probably going to be a female that's just there. See... You can get a view of its face. It's very camouflaged, sort of brown in color. It's got quite a few little hairs on it. I don't know if it could be a little hairy field spider. I've forgotten what they look like. I haven't seen one in such a long time. Now, who knows how many eggs could be in that sack, but she's not going to move off of it. She's going to protect it the best that she can in order to give those little spiderlings inside the best chance of survival. We've got a view of its face. I'm coming around to look on the camera.
We are sideways.
We are sideways at the... So the head is basically facing to the right if you're looking at it, which is making it quite difficult for us to get a decent view. So they're very protective over their eggs, of course. I mean, they're not going to let anybody come and steal them. They're going to try and defend them to their absolute best. But it'd be quite cool to figure out what little spider this is. I'm just trying to see. It's so small. It's really, really quite tiny. Isn't that beautiful? Now, most of the time, the egg sacs of spiders are white, yellow, typically white, though, and they can be different shapes. They can be round with spikes on the end of them, which is normally from the brown recluse spider that we get to see quite often that lives in James's tent out here in the Sabi sand. And, well, actually, anywhere indoors. They're quite fond of making their webs and having their eggs inside. Some of them can be like a little purse, like this one. It's a strange little thing. Now, one of the, I don't know if you remember the green lynx spider, which we every now and then get to see. Actually, there's a few spiders that have different coloured egg casings. I've seen it before. It's almost like a light green, which is quite nice, so we'll keep an eye out for that. Now, Sammy Jane, you're wondering what would eat those eggs. I don't know, maybe another spider. There's lots of spiders that are cannibalistic and would feed on that. Birds would quite happily snatch that up. And, of course, I'm on bushwalk, so we're always a little bit on edge. So every time I hear a branch break or grass rustle, you'll see me turn like that very quickly. And what I have heard... I don't know if we're going to be able to see it as well, as there's two yellow-billed hornbills clambering around on some very small branches. There's still one up there. It's going to fly as well. It should follow in suit. Just picking off some fruit from a guarri tree, it looks like it. Very sparse guarri tree. That doesn't look like there's much left on it. Bouncing around. Oh, those tiny little flimsy branches. Pretty incredible how they're able to bounce around like that. Oh, careful. No, you're going to fall off of that tree, surely. Always the hornbills that are taking chances, aren't they? Off it goes. Bye-bye. So that's what gave me a fright. Right, off we go. We'll see what else we can find. We've just popped onto the road because this is the area where we thought we could hear the lions. but we don't have any lion tracks anymore. So now we're going to go up to Herbie, and we're basically going to decide and change our plan for the morning, because our plan was to, of course, see if we can find some big cats. We've had leopard tracks, we've heard leopards, but I think those cats are on the move. I don't know if we're going to be quick enough to be able to keep up with them. I think being in a vehicle, we'll be able to jump a few steps ahead will be a bit easier. So we'll just try and gather our thoughts with Herbie and then find out where we're going to go from here. Because I don't actually mind where we go. Very quiet this morning. Very, very quiet. Unfortunately, it's very freezing today. Well, you can see everyone on Bushwalker's got their jerseys on. So there's not really any insects that are out and awake just yet. Everybody's still waiting for the sun to come out to warm. And Louise, you've asked for a baboon spider. I don't know. We'll see if nature can provide us with one. Like I said, it's cold. I wouldn't be coming out just yet. I'd wait till the sun warms up. So maybe in the next hour and a half or so, we'll get lucky and we'll be able to find something. But for now, it's looking a bit dismal in terms of insect life out here. But I'll keep looking. No, there's not much, unfortunately. Okay, well, we'll keep on soldiering on and hopefully we'll be able to find something. Off you go across to Brent to see if he's managed to pick up on more of those leopard tracks.
Wow. So far, bad news and good news. The fact is that there are no tracks coming out, so it means they're still inside Djuma, but we haven't found them yet. Is the bad news. The good news is they're still here somewhere. Now, yesterday morning on Bushwalk, we found an absolutely incredible looking little spider. And I haven't managed to get down to the exact species of spider, but the family is the orb weaver spiders. I'm waiting for my friend to reply if he knows the exact species of the spider, but it is an orb weaver is the family. Okay, road junctions. Time to check very carefully. Nope. Just Ellie's overnight all around here. It is such a beautiful morning. Oh, what have we got? Hyena. Lots of hyena tracks around. Making quite a bit of noise last night as well, the hyenas. This next road junction up here is very productive when it comes to leopard. Well, tracks at least. So I'm hoping that one, if not both, have walked down this particular spot. If not, I'm going to head back up via tele-access, maybe check a bit further to the west. And I think Okamuri might have come down Rebecca's road. So here we go. Let's just check very carefully around here. Nothing going that way. Nothing going that way. Okamuri. So I thought he might have come down here. So there's Hokamuri's tracks. Let me see, you got them there. Hello, big boy. Now, where are you? So we're on the right track. Now, Helena's asking, does this roads with soft sand help with tracking? Most definitely. It makes it much easier. You don't have to concentrate as hard to see the tracks. Okay, we're just going to go very slowly now. So we're on his tracks. Now, he might duck off towards the new road. But at the moment, he's still heading down Rebecca's road. Sorry, Zoe's road. Rebecca's road goes off that way. Okay, nice soft sand, quite easy to see his tracks where he's been walking. Oh no, that's a hyena. Where's he gone? Well, let's just check up to the next. So as I said, it's possible he might disappear off into the... he's back. Well, hopefully we find him marching in the glorious morning light. He's continuing on here. Oh, just quickly, it's just, wait, let me go forward a little bit for you there, Craig. One of my favorite views on the whole of Djuma is from this particular spot. Isn't it absolutely gorgeous? And it's always good to stop and listen for a few seconds. Beautiful. Okay, back to tracking leopards. Okay. Did he go down towards the old hyena den, maybe? Let me just have a look. No, he's still here. This is very exciting because we heard him around camp at about just after 5. So it means we are very fresh on his tail. There he is, still walking, still walking. And see, once you go over a bit of hard sand like that, it always pays to just double check, because there are so many hyena tracks around. Yeah, he's still there. He's done quite a big loop through Djuma last night. So he's gone from Treehouse all the way to Vuyatela, around the camp, up Vuyatela access, straight across on Zoe's, and we're still on Zoe's now. He's almost looping back to where thought I heard a kudu bark for a second there. Nope. Okay. He's almost looping back to the area where he had that kudu kill. Okay, I'm going to keep on these leopard tracks, and while I concentrate on finding the hokomore, let's go to Taylor, who's found a 6-legged creature.
We've got a little beetle of sorts. I don't know what type it is. It's kind of a little bit yellow and golden with black on it. It's very small though. You can see it's just sitting on the edge of a blade of grass. It's so tiny. There it is. And of course, as we go live, it runs onto the other side of the grass. Shall I see if I can entice it? There's quite a few of them on this grass. We got some. There we go. There's a whole lot. Oh, no, don't fly away. Only do that if we're going to film it in slow motion. Hey, Seb. Yeah. It'd be quite cool if we got to watch one fly away from position. Now, everyone's obviously warming up. I don't know where they would have been resting, if they would have been resting on this blade of grass, or perhaps they went further down towards where the leaves are. And that would have provided them with a little bit more protection. And I'm sure it would have been a lot more cozy down there. But there are lots of them. I think they must be feeding on all the little, or on the inflorescence at the moment. You can see they're all starting, grasses are starting to flower. So perhaps that's what they're feeding on, the bits of pollen. That would be a good food source for them. But I have no idea what they all are. You see, in the beetle family, the Coleoptera family, there are thousands and thousands of different species. And I don't think I've ever seen this little guy before. I'm actually just finding another one. See, this is actually quite nice because it's in the light and it's actually sitting out in the open, dangling. You see that one there? Just so we can try and get a good screenshot. And we can try and figure out what this little guy is. It's quite hard to try and identify all the little insects. Look at it, it's beautiful, especially the way that it's catching the light. It's so small. So tiny. They're very busy. And there's so many. Look how tiny that is. How cool is that? Got a very shiny carapace as well. You can see how the light is catching it and reflecting off of it. Very, very nice. And then there was also a little tick. Where's our little tick friend? Frozen at the moment. Yeah. Don't know, it's waking up. And there it is. Also, resting on a piece of grass, waiting in anticipation for something to come around and they can grab onto it. They've got incredibly good strength, these little ticks. So if a lion were to brush up past you, heard a buffalo, anything like that, it would latch on. And it doesn't look like this tick has fed in a while. Its body hasn't expanded, and that's of course what they're designed for. It's amazing how a tick of this size can blow up to be quite large. They're able to suck up large amounts of blood. Not one tick is going to kill an animal, but you know, if they become completely infested by them, then of course it's going to cause a problem. But having ticks is normal. Not for you and I. We shouldn't be having any ticks or any mites. But for the animals, it is. I don't even know if we're still live anymore. We'll just carry on and hope. Cool. It seems like there's some technical difficulties with the cars. Now, Kalina will just walk and have a chat. What do we call this? It's DNC when we drive and chat, so this is WNC. Doesn't sound as great though. You're wondering if a guide has ever surprised a leopard on bushwalk. Oh yeah, all the time. That's how we tend to find the animals. Most of the time they get up and they run away. However, if your name is Hosana, who is a young male leopard that we see on the property, he sits and watches you. He barely moves, which is terrifying because you shouldn't be able to get that close to a leopard. But he's had quite a bit of time and experience with us on foot from a young age, so he's kind of comfortable. Obviously, if you got too close to him, he will give some warning signs. That I had an amazing encounter with him on walk the other day, where he was eating some plants. No, why did I say he was eating some plants? I was about to tell you about the buffalo. He was not eating some plants. He was eating a daker kill, which he brought down into the drainage line. We're kind of looking down on top of it. It was quite nice. What I was going to tell you about the plants is that there are lots and lots of buffalo footprints. You can actually see one over here. Look at that. And that's fresh. This is from last night. Pretty cool. So I don't know who was disturbing the buffalo around here. You can see this one was turning. Look at all the sand that's been pushed up. Quite a bit of commotion. Actually, looks like they may have been running, trying to get away from something. So I wonder who was chasing the buffalo. I know there was a big herd of them down at Sydney's Dam yesterday. But this also seems to be a popular route for the buffalo because there's some freshish tracks, there's some old dung, there's old tracks. So I don't know if maybe it wasn't that same big herd that was at Sydney's Dam. Perhaps it was just a group of boys, a bachelor group. That could have also happened. We've been seeing actually quite a few buffalo now. It's been quite nice. So this is what we're on at the moment. We're just on the fire break, having a look. Not many people drive the fire break, so it is quite nice if you want to come and check for tracks. Anti-poaching typically will stick around on the boundaries. Hang on, whose footprints are these? Looks like there was a leopard that walked here, but quite a while ago. What I'm looking at is, let me get a little sticky. Look here. See the toes? And the padding here. A very round track, and we know that leopard tracks are quite round. Here's another one. And the more toes, 1, 2, 3, 4. And the pad coming out from there. So perhaps this leopard, because he comes up quite close, looks like a male leopard's tracks. I wonder if this leopard didn't walk out from Big Animal Pathway, come up, mark up on the silver cluster leaf tree. Because you can see, look how the tracks are right over here. So that to me says that perhaps this is one of the back feet and the tail was lifted and then sprayed some urine up on here. There is some dung on the trees, but that could actually be from, I don't see any hippo dung here, so I wonder if this wasn't from an elephant a long time ago. Because the elephants are so big, sometimes when they do defecate, they end up dropping a big ball of dung on the tree. You can see there. Looks like it's maybe fallen and down to the ground. But quite nice, of course, to see. So a lot has gone on here. Not anything particularly fresh, but still just leaving signs behind. This is so cool. That's nice. I wonder who was walking there. Well, we'll see what else we can find around here on this fire break. It's actually proving to be quite entertaining. Maybe there'll be a few more insects along it too. We've, of course, changed direction now. We seem to be heading a little bit more northwest. And so perhaps we're going to head down towards Sydney's Dam and see if we can give the guys a hand. And they were chatting about some commotion that went on there, I presume with a big herd of buffalo. So that's where we're headed. Now, Brent, I think, is in a similar area. Let's go and catch up. He's had a good chance to do some tracking.
Well, unfortunately, I'm not. We followed Hokamuri's tracks. Unfortunately, he did cross Gowrie May and went to the south. So I just they've just found him. But there's some other updates coming from the east, and they've got wild dog tracks coming in from the Londolozi boundary, so that's quite far, but we all know how far dogs can move, so fingers crossed that they get all the way up here. My little brother's actually following those wild dog tracks at the moment, so hopefully I taught him a few things over the years and he'll find them. But the plan for the rest of our morning is, I think I'm just going to keep checking Gowrie May now, because if the dogs have really skedaddled, they might have even crossed here. So I'm checking very carefully. And then I'm going to keep an ear on to see if they do find any more tracks of those wild dogs. And then Tingana's been found in Little Gowrie, so not too far from here, but down in the Mawati River. And then that's all the updates from the east so far. Oh, and the sticks were found, but also quite far south on Hoffman. Sorry. So we're gonna just keep checking through here. I might head all the way down to Cheetah Cutline, have a perusal, see if Tundi's decided to come back from her visitation in Torchwood, which would be quite nice. And at the same time, still, as I say, keeping an ear to see if those wild dogs start heading in our direction, which would be absolutely splendid. Okay. Now, we had a question. I didn't quite catch the name. There was which is harder to track, leopard or cheetah? Nina. There we go. Nina would like to know which is harder to track, leopard or cheetah. Well, Nina, it depends where you are. If you're in the Masai Mara, cheetah are much easier and they sit in more prominent open areas. But in the Sabi Sands, I would say cheetah is probably more difficult to track. Now, with leopards, lions, and hyenas frequenting the roads and using the roads as their main access areas, the cheetah tend not to walk on roads and try to cross through the middle of the thick blocks and stuff like that to avoid confrontation with those other predators. So it is I would say cheetah is more difficult to track in the Sabi Sands, but in a lot of other places, leopard is more difficult. So a lot depends on the terrain and the different predator densities. So, for example, in the Kalahari, desert cheetah are actually much easier to track than leopard. But as I say, it just depends where you are in Africa. Okay. Now, Hasana was also around here somewhere last night, so maybe he's decided to move to the north as well. So that's why just having a good look along Gowrie May to see if we can spot any tracks. I do love the smells. For me, change of season. Yesterday morning was the first where it was really crisp in the morning, quite chilly, so moving towards the dry. There's always a chance we might get a little bit more rain, but not too much more rain. As I say, it's already sort of almost the end of March. Let's have a look. No tracks there. Always check carefully around here. And always check carefully around here. It's one of Asana's favorite hangouts. We can't hear any alarm calls. Can't see any tracks. So let's go see how Taylor's fire break adventure is going.
A bit flustered, but we'll get there. Right, so James, Richard, you were asking for a tracking quiz. Sorry, we haven't been able to set one up, but I've got one track for you that we can start with, and well, then we'll just see if we can find some more as we go. So, of course, as you've seen it, I'm going to give you one clue for this track, though, because I can't be too mean this morning. There's the little track that we're talking about. I want to know from you, what animal has made that track in the sand? You can hashtag Safari Live. You can let us know also via the YouTube chat. Let's see who's going to be quick off the mark over there. So that's the first one. Here's the second one. Those two little holes in the ground. I'll let Seb show you them quickly. I'm just going to walk to try and find another one. That's track number 2. You can guess. We also need to put them in the correct order. And then, now we've just got the same tracks over. Just trying to find some more really nice ones. Also giving you time to think. Now I've just destroyed all the tracks here because we've just been walking up and down. Let's see. Any other good ones? No, they're all the same animals, so that's not going to work. Oh, there we go. You've got 2 to guess. Right, Patrick, you've only given me one answer, so you don't win at all. You've got to give 2 correct answers in order to win this challenge today. So I'm going to wait for 2 answers. So I'm not going to give your answer out, Patrick, just yet, but maybe you can quickly try and guess what the second track was. So 1 and 2 in order to win bragging rights today for the first tracking exercise, because that's all you win, but it's quite nice to gloat sometimes, isn't it? And here you go. So we'll stand by for 2 answers. We're going to keep going because we can always pick up some more. Like I said, we kind of squashed all the other tracks there as we were walking around. Now, when you are tracking, the best place to find tracks is, of course, on the sandy roads. The animal pathways can be great too, but I haven't seen a really big animal pathway just on this section, but we should be coming up to some more. And then you can get a variety of different animals that are walking on through. Be quite cool. You get some that are over the top of one another. That can be really tricky. That's what we'll try and aim to do. We'll circle like a big area and then see if you can kind of guess who was walking in one spot, how many different animals put their feet on the same pathway. Could be quite cool. Oh, here we go. Herbie's got one for us. Herbie, was this you? Thank you. Right, here's the next track. That's number 3. Now, natural light, you've said that number 1 was a steenbok, number 2 was a warthog. Unfortunately, natural light, you don't win there. But this is another good track. This is a perfect track, in fact. Herbie, so we found the direction from where that Nyamazana has come from, hey? Sure, was walking far. There we go, you got a little bit of a clue as to this track. You should be able to guess it. I'm not putting my hand next to it or anything because it's going to make it too easy otherwise. Off we go, but a very round track. Let's see what else we can find. So come on, natural light, you can get a second go. There's, you can have as many chances as you like, of course. What else we got? See, now it's tricky. Have a look at this fire break. You see how we haven't got the sun directly casting its beautiful golden light into some of the tracks, which makes them stand out a little bit more. So this is where tracking can be a little bit difficult. You typically want to have the sun behind you as well. When you are tracking, you don't want to track straight into the sun. That's never, or it's not the best way to track. You can, of course, do it. You can always overcome any obstacles when you are tracking, but having the light behind you casting, creates a shadow, which helps them stand out a little bit better. What else have we got? That's a hard one to see. That'll be too difficult. Be too difficult, I think. I'll try another one here. See, now look, this is what we're dealing with. It gets quite hard and rocky around here, which doesn't help and doesn't leave footprints on the ground, unfortunately. It can, but you've got to have expertly trained eyes like Herbie in order to see any tracks on the road. One of my favorite things, and it's what I spoke about actually when we were doing the small burns on Djuma last year. It was just before we left, in fact. They typically start burning around July, August, September, around those times of the year. And while the animals walk over of course the animals are walking over the sort of burnt areas, their padding underneath their feet goes black. And then on a rocky section like this, if a group pride of lions have walked over a burnt section, you'll actually see the little black footprints going along the rocks, which was quite cool to see, in fact. But we'll see. We probably won't find any of those now because we haven't been doing much burning. But off you go back across to Brent.
So we finished checking Gowrie Main. No luck there so far. So we're on the eastern boundary of Djuma, Cheetah Cut Line, and we are now heading towards the north. And last tracks of Thandi crossed into Torchwood here. So that was 2 days, maybe 2.5 days ago. So there's a good chance whatever they killed and they were easing, they have finished it. And they're on their way back to Djuma. So that's why it's probably a good idea. And then I'm going to do a bit of a boundary patrol after that. And just check Buffelshoek Cut Line, the section that Steve didn't check yet. Unfortunately, Steve has had to go back to camp to fix an issue. To fix a tech issue, but he should be out shortly again. So I'm just going to grab the baton from him and check this northeastern corner. Now, Makeup is wondering, have I been to every part of Africa on safari? I wish. Let me think. Where have I been? We'll start at the south. So South Africa, Swaziland, Lesotho, Mozambique, Zimbabwe, Botswana, Namibia, Zambia, Angola, Congo, DRC Congo. Let's go across now. I've shot through Malawi, but I haven't done much in Malawi. Tanzania, Kenya, Uganda, Rwanda, Congo Brazzaville, Gabon. There we go, I think that's that. Yes, 16 different countries I've traveled and gone on safari extensively in Africa. But there's a lot more to do. I'll get there. Okay. Let's have a look now. So that area I last had Thandi's tracks is just up there. This is a beautiful morning, but the leopards are proving to be a little bit scarce. But the wonderful thing about being live in out here is you never know what can happen next. And the hyenas seem to have walked every single road on Djuma that I've been on so far. Christina is wondering, has there been any updates on Shadow and her cub? Nothing concrete, but I spoke to an Arethusa guide. Apparently she was hanging around the Mala Mala boundary trying to avoid Hukumuri, but they haven't seen them in about 10 days, 2 weeks. But that's not that uncommon for Shadow. She does do the disappearing act very well, better than any other leopard. What's going to be very interesting to see with Hukumuri around is probably pushing her further and further to the south. Oh. There we go. Let's have a quick look here. Let me just have a look. There are quite a few tracks around, so just want to double check. One looked. I've lost it. Let me just step back again. So often it's good to step back and look at the light, but no, it's just hyenas. Hyenas, hyenas, hyenas. But it's always important to check these road junctions. There we go, it's warm enough now, I don't need my shruka. Oh, one of my favorite calls in the Sabi Sands. I don't know, I'm going to keep quiet so you can hear it. It's over there behind us somewhere. So I'm just going to Craig point the mic there. So it is a Karachani button quail. I don't know if you guys could hear that, but I'll show you a picture of it now. It's one of the more difficult birds to get on camera. So we see them quite often while we're driving and stuff like that. We flush them because they're very small and they like to hide in the long grass, and then as you come past them they jump up and go down again. But you hear them calling frequently. Oh, wrong number. There we go. So, Karachani buttontail, number 4. That's them. Oomp, oomp. Very cool bird. Okay, let's continue on our searching. Now, I've checked, since I've been back, almost all the known hyena dens. Unfortunately, we've had no sign of any of them being active, which means the dens could be in 2 different places. They could be where they have denned before. They have denned in Sibambili, just across Gari Main. I don't, from the tracks and where we're finding a lot of the tracks and sub-adult hyena tracks and where I'm hearing a lot of the audio, I don't think they're in Sibambili. I think they're behind Sydney's dam in the Manyeleti somewhere, and they have denned there a few times in the past, but fingers crossed they'll be making their way back to some of the Djuma dens in the next couple of weeks. Okay. Only elephants so far. Nina is wondering, why do hyena make the whooping sound? Well, there's a couple of different reasons. Same as lions and leopards, why they're called. One of them is a contact call, so to check whether other members of the clan might be. The other is territorial. So, oopsie, water bottle fell over. Territorial, so to let all the other hyenas that are not from their clan know that this is their territory. And the third one, I think, is one of the funnier ones. It's because they're lonely. Now, it's generally most whoops you hear are made by males in the clan and are completely ignored by 80% of the hyenas. But if one of the dominant females starts calling, immediately all members of the clan will take notice, and they tend to call less than the males. The males sort of walk around going, "I'm lonely." Woo. Like this. And it's quite funny. So different hyenas have sort of slightly different voices, so just like lions and leopards and people. So and the individuals can identify, the hyena individuals can identify the different individual hyena. So quite special. Oh, it seems like Taylor is on a true insect mission, and she's got a very, very cool insect to show you.
I do, and you may be able to see it moving every now and then, which is quite creepy. Now, it's dangling on the end of a bush willow tree, and to you, it may just look like sticks, don't you think? It does, because it has got sticks on its back. This is a bagworm, and they are the most bizarre creatures out in the bush. They often confuse people who have never seen one before, and this one has used silk sort of line itself essentially create a bag, and then it takes all sorts of bits and pieces from the environment. Sometimes they use stones, but we typically see these little twigs. I want to know, how does it break the twigs off? Does it just collect twigs on the ground? Because I think it's fairly well constructed, which is amazing. This is a small one. You can actually get much bigger. They can normally, I've seen some that must, I don't know, maybe double that in length and size. So I think it just depends if it's a moth or a butterfly species. However, I'm uncertain as to what species this is, as we can't even see the little caterpillar, and that's inside. Maybe if I can look from this way, if I climb on top, if I can see a little bit better. Actually, Seb, if we come around here, you can maybe look down into it, which is quite cool. You can't really see much. They normally poke their little heads out. Not today, though. And this is amazing. And again, I suppose it depends on what species it is before it... I wonder if it is getting ready to pupate. The way that it's attached itself like this. See that? Normally you see them crawling around on the ground. So perhaps this one is ready to now, well, stop crawling around on the ground. And perhaps it's pupating on the inside. That would be quite cool. I wish we could see inside. We need like X-ray vision to have a look at what's going on. That's so awesome. How did it get up there? How strong must you be? Hey, Seb?
Yeah, sure.
To pull yourself up with all that,
Yeah.
like it's carrying firewood. That's crazy. That's amazing. There's a tiny little worm inside there. Okay, so I believe no one has got the answers correct for my quiz just yet. Disappointing. No, I'm just joking. There were some tricky ones. We have moved off from those tracks because we wanted to get into another area where we could find some more insects and spiders. I'm actually looking for a jumping spider now too, because they're my favorite. They're my absolute favorite. So I'm checking very carefully on all the grasses and the Weltharias. I haven't seen any other caterpillars yet. That's the first caterpillar we've seen all day, that bagworm. So still really, look, we're still following the tracks of the track number 3. Here's another one of their footprints, his footprints. You see that? Over there, in front of my shoe. Walked all the way down here. So I don't know if it's the same animal we were tracking this morning, if it's the same individual. Yes. Helena, you guessed correctly in saying that track number 3 was indeed a leopard. That's the footprint that we're looking at. We think that Djuma may have been on the property last night because these are fairly fresh. They come around here, and I don't think they're the same tracks we had going through camp. I still think someone else was around there. Who knows? Djuma, I don't know if he pushed so far in. Well, I suppose everything is changing and anything is possible. So those ones that we were looking at earlier, so well done. You guessed correctly. Okay, I'm just going to give you the answers then, because I don't know if anyone's going to get them. Number 1, so Patrick, your answer from earlier, you said a Dacre track was number 1. You are correct, but nobody wins today because you had to get them all 3 in order. And then number 2, here are some more. Those little holes in the sand. They are from antlions. There is an antlion larvae in there. They're quite ferocious looking creatures. Sometimes you can see them. We can go down, see if I can see which one is most active. It can be quite difficult though. I'm not going to try and dig one out. It's sometimes quite cool to have a look at them under the microscope, but if we don't have the microscope, it's going to be quite hard to sort of see it. No, you could have also moved on from here. Moving around at night, and they can also only move backwards, which is quite funny. Now, if the sand was nice and soft and it didn't have any of these little rocks and bits of quartz and things in it, then we could actually see its track too. But like I said, that's the challenges that you do face on surfaces that aren't smooth, right? The technical gremlins managed to drag Steve down a deep, dark hole, but he fought his way up quite bravely. Let's go and hear about, well, where he's been for the last little while.
We have fought our way out of the deep dark hole. I've lost my jacket in the process. Things seem to be back on track. Dave and I are back out. We've refreshed the game drive, and let's hope we can find some wonderful animals for you this morning. So please send through your comments and questions to #SafariLive. Let Dave and myself know what would you like to see this morning. No luck with the lions. The owners of Buffalook are in touch with us, and the lion tracks are all up and down in the north, so it seems as if they're going to have a busy morning finding them that side. We can't help them, unfortunately, but we're going to go and find our own animals, especially for you people out there. Let us know what you'd like to see, what you'd like to discuss. I had a wonderful birding afternoon yesterday. Could do some more of that as well. So when you last had a little bit of time with Dave and myself, we spent it at Buffelshoek Dam. We were actually trying to record the hippo there. There was a young male hippo that was showboating off to the bigger male. And Dave managed to record some really nice sort of slow motion shots of the hippos moving. We also then had a standoff between two Cape turtle doves or ringneck doves as they were fighting over the rights to a female. That was super interesting. They were hitting each other with their wings like ninja slaps. It was quite something. I've never ever seen doves fighting like that before. Grant would like to know if we live on the reserve permanently, and we stay here for our 1 month to 6 week sort of cycles, and then we all go to wherever it is we come from. And there are a lot of nomads living here. No one seems to have a permanent home. A couple do. Steph does. I've just moved into a place in Hoedspruit. I was there for about a week before coming back here. And then some of the others still live with, visit folks from time to time. It's difficult in this industry to own your own house, purely because you're only there for about a week or 2 weeks in 6. So it is something that I am looking to do at one point, because I am tired of moving between place and place. And whoopa, that is a nice big track. I wonder if Brent came this way this morning. Yeah, that is a leopard track heading directly. He did say that it came this way and it crossed. So let's see if we can follow that a bit longer. See if it is in fact the same individual. So, no one stays here permanently. Everybody lives off-site somewhere. People from Cape Town, Durban, Johannesburg. Who from Joburg, eh, Dave? Joburg, representing in the house. For those of you who've not sure what Joburg is short for Johannesburg. Yeah, let's show those tracks, Dave. They look very, very fresh. It's probably from that female. It looks like a female. Just over my shoulder there, you can see them. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful tracks. Look at that. Actually, it looks like a male now that I look at it closer. The distance, the size, have a little measurement of the track. Yeah, it's closer to 10 centimeters. I'd say that is a male. I wonder if it is Hukumuri. You said something, Dave, about the one toe being very long. I can see that now on this track. That toe is extremely long, and then on the other track as well. So that would be his left foot, and that would be his right foot over there. And he's walking very slowly, folks. How I can tell that is if Dave can see this track here and this track here, there's no track in between. So he's stepping on his back foot, stepping on his back foot, stepping on his back foot. So that's the kind of stalking motion that a leopard goes through. And they are territorially marking or scenting. They are walking at quite a speed, whereas the front foot would be here, and then the back foot would be sort of over there, and that will indicate a distance or speed. Where here he's walking very slowly. Maybe he was the entire time while walking along here was looking for a bite to eat. That kudu wasn't enough for him last night. Who knows? Well, we'll continue on here. Brent did say the tracks of Hukumuri went and crossed our boundary. So we'll just follow this for a little while longer. Sarah, you'd like to know how long is the average stride of a leopard? Well, let's have a measurement, shall we? I don't know. I've never actually measured it. Let me jump off and have a quick measurement. Here we go. You need to find... See, now stride and gait is very important to understand. Okay, I've got 1, 2, and there's 3. Okay, so the gait is how it's stepping on its front foot. So there is the gait, and here is from from right foot to left foot. So that actually, this distance here, from the back of the pad to the back of the pad, actually will give you, if I measure that distance there, that should give me, because the animal is front foot on back foot, that should actually give me the shoulder height of the animal. So that is, I'm going to have to measure it, eh? Okay, so there is 20, no, that's not 20. How many centimeters is this? Yes, it's 20 centimeters, 40 centimeters, and 2. So 42 centimeters. That is from left foot to right foot, gives you shoulder height. It doesn't sound right to me at the moment, but then if I'm going to measure to the next, this is going to give you the proper stride of the animal from right foot to right foot again. Okay, so that is probably going to be 84, considering another 20 plus 4. Okay, so that's about 86 centimeters from the right foot to the right foot. So that is the stride, and that's about as average as you would get, considering the animal's walking on and front and back foot. It's very hard to tell when they're not registering or justifying, because it's not an accurate level of their movement. But when they're walking like that, you can get the body length of the leopard. Here is the back hip, and here is the shoulder. So there you can see the normal kind of distance of the leopard, with the shoulder height of about sort of that high. So it's about that tall over there. Isn't that marvelous? It's nice that you can see it in a track like this when he's walking slowly. Impossible when they're not walking slowly like that. Okay, so I hope that answers your question. Yes? Okay, looks like Taylor's looking at all the small and wonderful things, so let's go over to her again with the spider.
They're finally starting to wake up, and we have a little spider who was building a web earlier. It looks like it's actually taken it down. Well, there's a little bit. I don't think if you'll be able to see it. I can only see one strand. Perhaps it's in preparation, starting to build its web. It's quite interesting. I don't think you'll see it. It's so small. I think it's taken it down, which is unusual, because it looks like it. I don't know what species of spider it is. There's so many of them. Some species of spider, like the bark spiders, for example, take their webs down. They build them up at night and then take them down during the day. And when I first found it, there was an entire web here. So it's actually got rid of it. Perhaps it's getting ready to set up a new web. And that is always quite a difficult thing, because they need to rely on the wind a little bit. And they will start to release a little bit of silk, and they'll float it across to like a piece of grass or another branch, and then they start from there once they've got a bit of scaffolding up, if you will. And it's pretty cool to watch spiders build their webs. But it took it down really quickly. That was amazing. I wonder what species it is. Quite sort of white and cream in colour, in fact, with a black spot on the cephalothorax right at the back there. Very cool to see. There was also a few little beetles on it, those ones that we'd seen earlier, but they've now since flown away. Typical. They're quite cool, nothing else. But it had a nice little web. It looked quite round and orb-like, typically like they are. It was sort of from the end of the sawtooth lovegrass going all the way around and back in. But it's completely devoured it. And they do that. They will eat up their webs again. Very cool. So perhaps it's not as active during the day. Maybe it's more active during the night. You do get some spiders that are more diurnal than others. Kyla, you're wondering if that means that spider recycled its web? Most certainly it does. I suppose it must use quite a bit of energy having to constantly keep producing silk. So if you can recycle it, why not? We've got some ants that are on the go slow this morning. Actually, have you ever seen ants moving so slowly? I suppose it's a Monday. Look at that. These tiny little red things. Look how they're coming out of the ground. So they're obviously living down under there. That's where their colony is from. But typically ants are always relatively fast moving, regardless of their size. But these guys are just like, oh no, do we have to? Oh, Monday morning, wiping the sleep out of their eyes. But this is really it. And actually, look, now they look like they're starting to pick up a little bit more. Or am I just seeing everything in fast forward now? Are they moving quicker?
A little bit.
They are moving a little bit quicker. And they'll be communicating with one another through sort of chemical pheromones. Look at that. Look how the speed has just changed. Yeah. That's incredible.
Maybe because of us.
Maybe, like you say, Seb, perhaps it is because of us. But even the ones down on this end that were moving so slowly have now picked up the pace quite a bit and are on the move. Maybe something has changed. Maybe they have said, maybe they said there's a threat, everybody get to safety. That could also be it. Quite cool though, but they'll be off. They'll be out searching for bits of grasses. It looked like they were taking some grasses down. I don't know if they're maybe omnivorous. Perhaps they also feed on insects too. A bit of both, a bit of plant matter, some insects. It'll be quite a nice varied diet. And they might also be just taking out some of the old rubble that they don't need anymore. They're getting some stones. Yeah, it looks like there's actually one coming up now with it looks like a stone. Look at that. Yeah, it's coming out. Let's see if it's going to drop it. Let's see if it drops that little rock. Are you making a statue? Looks like it wants to pile it on top of those other ones. Wisteria, you've asked if these ants are red because you said they sure look red. They're almost like a plum color. They're not quite typically red. But they're very pretty. Did it put it down?
Yeah, I did.
It dropped it. So there we go. So some of them have already started with removing all the rubble. You know, if an elephant came walking over, perhaps a little bit of an earthquake when you live underground, and a few little rocks shifted out of place, we've got to get rid of those. They're hard workers, these things. They are hard workers. They seem to have slowed down again. It was incredible how they just picked up into fast forward. Right. Let's see what else we have on these grasses. We're still on the fire break. I think we're going to be turning in shortly. We'll just have a quick look here. No insects. What I've been doing is actually walking just off the side of the road like this and staring at the plant because the sun is so beautiful coming from the east shining down, and that's making it a lot easier to be able to spot the insects. Those little beetles are shining. The spiders, I'm actually seeing their webs, in fact, which is quite cool. Sometimes you can't always do that when you're walking through the thickets, and it's quite dense over here. I don't really want to be walking through some of this. Right, Steve is on a Monday morning bumble. Let's go and see what his plans are, seeing as though the lions are not on the property.
Thanks, Taylor. Our options for us really are to just go around and check the pans and the dams. See if there's any movements. Obviously, if we could find some activity of elephants, that would be marvelous. So we're looking for always the birds of the Djuma wilderness, because I know a lot of you out there do enjoy our birding. The binoculars are always at the ready. And failing any activity around the dams, we might just pop over to Chitwa. Who knows? It could be quite exciting. After yesterday's performance on Chitwa, I don't know if we could beat that, but it is always nice to check water. Water is the currency of life. And if you do understand that and the times and whatever the heat, you can often predict sort of animal movements. And what we've always seen is the leopards and the lions moving in relation to the prey animals around water. And when they get hot, they go and drink. So maybe Tingana will be in and around the dam there. Maybe we'll have some more elephants swimming. Maybe another buffalo birth. Could we? 2 in 24 hours? Who knows? But we're having some technical sort of issues with Brent as well. But I think that they're busy sorting that out. And I think he's actually managed to sit in one place. He's got elephants coming down to drink. Let's go over and see how he's doing.
Look at this, isn't it spectacular? A massive herd of elephants have just come down towards Buffelshoek Dam. I counted 35 and there's still more rolling out of the bush. Having a quick drink. It doesn't look like they're going to hang around for too long. Some of them just stopping for a quick drink. Oh, magic. Oh, coming right up towards us now, behind us there, Craig. Hello, big girl. I think we are about to be completely surrounded by elephants. This is just insane. I'm just above these ellies. I mean, look here. I'm sitting around there. I've got elephants to the left of me, elephants to the right. Tiny little baby running over there. Tiny baby behind us. Hi, guys. It's okay. It's okay, big girl. It's okay. It's okay. Don't come too close. So guys, we can't move now. I'm just going to have to keep quiet as well. Very, very, very close to this tiny baby. So it's very important to stay very calm in these situations. So if we move the car or make the wrong noise, the elephants can get upset. Fortunately for us, they didn't. And so very important to stay calm when there's a female and that smaller baby next to you. Okay, wow. That was so close to us. There's quite a few very young babies in this herd. Okay, now that they've moved past us, Craig, I think I'm gonna... Actually, no, we're good, yeah. There's a really little, small one being quite cute just there. Shaking his head, having a drink from Mom. Seat is wondering how far do African elephants travel from their birthplace. Well, it's all very dependent. Hello, little one. On whether they're male or female. Females have home ranges that can extend as far as 100 kilometers in certain parts of Africa. Males have much larger home ranges, so they can do up to 200 kilometers from their sort of nasal range, but normally not nearly that far. Oh, another big girl coming up behind us. Oh, engaging low range 4-wheel drive. No, don't get cheeky with me because you were slipping. Here we go. Up, up, up. There we go. Well done. Okay, again, we've got some elephants very close to us. We just need to keep very quiet, very still while she passes us. Okay, she's gone past us, behind us. Grumpy. That's a weaning sound. That's that young sub-adult trying to get milk. But we're just going to listen and immerse ourselves in the elephants for a while. It's just amazing to listen to all the sounds of the ellies. Free Pair would like to know, is Fang in this herd? No, this is not Fang's herd. Lots of little ones everywhere. There's about 5 or 6 very little elephants in this herd. Oh, bullying. Don't be a bully. Don't be a bully. Well, it's more playing than bullying. If it gets too serious, the mom of the little one will sort it out. Just stick on the little ones. There's more playing going on. It's a little bit rough for that tiny little one, but mom won't be far away. Here we go. Yes, get away from that bully. Oh, what an amazing sighting of all these ellies. I'm trying to count. There's probably close to 40 in this herd. Oh, there we go. That little one got into trouble for bullying. Alicia is wondering, do elephants get sunburnt? No, they don't. That dark skin and thick skin is quite sun resistant. These elephants look like they've come quite a long way to get their drink, so there's not too much water around here. It is just so peaceful spending time with these big herds. There we go. There seems to be a bit of a calm now after the initial rush down to the water. Listen to that. So that is that same young elephant that's walking off there begging for milk. Now it's getting to the stage at the age where it's going to get weaned. So that sort of frustration is that you probably find that the female has stopped producing as much milk as she used to, and that young one is getting quite frustrated and complaining much better. Oh, it looks like we might get another elephant walk by very close to us, as the herd's decided, some of them have decided to come back this way. There's a female coming towards us with a very small baby. Hi, big girl. As I say, it's always very important when you are this close to elephants. Everyone thinks you need to drive away or whatnot, but the most important thing is to just keep still. We could excite them by trying to move the car at this junction in time. Hi guys. It's okay. There you go, having a little drink. You can hear a lot of elephant flatulence this morning. Too special to be able to sit this close to the largest land mammal in the world. You can hear the low rumbling communications all around us. Christopher is wondering if this is a mix of herds or one very large one. I think it's a mix of two different family groups, Christopher. And it looks like some are moving towards us and away, and the others are moving down into the thickets to the left. It is quite difficult to say. It could be just a very large herd. Oh, Veronica's asking what is the largest herd I've ever seen. Well, Veronica, it's more of the largest congregation, which will be made up of multiple breeding herds and little family groups, and the largest congregation I've seen is close on 1,000. Oh, argument at the back. That one with her trunk up was... Oh, it is Fang. I didn't even see Fang. Where did you come from? She must have just popped out from the bushes there. Hello, Fang. I think it's Fang. Hello, Fang. Well, it's been about a year, maybe a bit longer. So then this is... Fang's herd is a particularly big herd, so I'd say it is one herd. There we go. That's wonderful. Catching up with an old friend. Craig is wondering which one is the boss of this herd. That would be Fang. That female with a very distinct backward tusk. She's unfortunately just behind another elephant now, but we should get a view of her shortly. Look at him playing in the sand. You can hear it. I'm going to keep quiet. What he's doing is loosening the sand to get some to blow on himself. And there we go, you can see Fang's backward facing tusk very clearly now. So there's the boss of the herd. Oh, this is amazing. Now, as I say, I'm not going to move anywhere. I'm just absolutely thoroughly enjoying being surrounded by elephants. So while we continue to stay here, let's go across to Steve, who's looking for more birds.
Yes, we are always looking for the birds. Oh no, what happened to that one now? It disappeared. It was such a gorgeous specimen. I wonder if any of the viewers out there managed to get a look. There he is, right in the middle, Dave. Yeah, punch in. Right. There we go, there he is. You can just see his chest. I wonder if the viewers have managed to see this bird. Look at that. White chest. Very interesting specimen. Here he is, jumping up now. I would like to see how many of the viewers out there know what bird this is. Very difficult, really, to identify. Doesn't have the right kind of beak. His head seems to be red, with a black collar on it. But yet it is a very strange-looking specimen. I'm not sure it is what I thought it was initially. I've never seen with that white on the chin. I wonder if any of the viewers out there have any idea what bird this is. I initially thought it was a black-collared barbet, but there's so much about it that is not black-collared barbet. I'm going to look at another bird that it might be. Siberia Zumi is thinking a violetback. Are you thinking violetback starling? That's also the next bird I'm looking at. But there's so much wrong with the white. It's possibly going through the molt. It's possibly losing the coloration on the chest. You can see how it doesn't have the coloration underneath the chin anymore. Quite incredible. I'm thinking you are right there. That is my second guess for a bird. You can see the beak is quite soft. It's definitely not a barbet's beak. I thought initially black-collared barbet because of the colors, but the way the light is reflecting off of that violet, which is normally quite purple in photo, gives it that sort of reddish sheen. Absolutely marvelous. It really is an interesting time of year when birds start losing their breeding plumage. They get that sort of transition between the breeding and the eclipse. The eclipse plumage is the plumage they'll wear throughout the year when they're not breeding to blend in with the surroundings. But I do think that you are correct in a violet-backed starling. Well done. Well done. Absolutely marvelous, but that was not the reason we stopped here. The reason we stopped here, Dave's going to show you in a moment, is there we have a beautiful white-back vulture. And we have arrived at the scene of yesterday's carnage, where Brent had hukumuri and the hyena. And when we arrived here, there was a battalier eagle and a tawny eagle sharing the tree with this whiteback. Should I just punch forward a meter, Dave? Just going to roll, oopsie, a little bit further forward so you can get a look at this beautiful face. Tell me when, Dave. There we go. There it is, beautiful white-back vulture. And the tawny eagle and the battalier eagle, who find it a lot easier to fly at this time of day, they moved off, but the vulture does not want to waste his energy in expending it trying to lift its massive weight into the air, so it'll wait for the heat of the day to draw the thermals off the ground. And very nice to see how easily you can identify the eye. It's very dark. There's only one vulture you could confuse the whiteback with, and that is the Cape vulture. Although the Cape vulture is far bigger, it is not easy to see when they are on their own. But the Cape vulture's got a yellow eye, and there you can clearly see that this has got a black eye. Marvelous. And that black patch in the middle of the chest, you can see it's not distended in any way, which means it has not been feeding. Mina wants to know, how do small birds migrate long distances? And the answer to that, Mina, is in small bursts. They do it in over a number of weeks. Slowly, they fly by day. They lose huge amounts of body weight in relation to what they need. They don't need to feed or digest food while they move, so they'll pick up a lot of weight through feeding, but they'll actually reduce their gonads, all the reproductive organs, the stomach, the intestine will all reduce to decrease their weight, and then they can increase their weight by 50% through fat and reserves, and then just slowly but surely every single day they just fly in a direction that they're headed. So it's just small baby steps, not like us when we fly to the UK or to Europe or wherever we fly. We take one flight and it's 10 hours, 11 hours we're there. They do 5, 6, maybe 8 hours a day or 10 hours a day they fly. And then every day they rest and they fly again, they fly again, they fly again. So I hope that answers your question. Some of them actually use the currents coming down the coast and the wind currents taking them back up the coast. Okay, so from migrating birds, we're going to migrate all the way across to Buffelshoek Dam with Brent, who has got Fang and her herd.
Well, there's still a few elephants down next to the water. Most of them have started moving away and starting to feed in the bushes around us. Martini is wondering, is this a local herd or they're just passing through the area? Well, they are a local herd, but their herd does extend, their home range does extend beyond Djuma. But yes, they are a local herd that we do see quite often. Oh, hang on, someone's trying to sneak up on me. Hey, turn around. Ah, there you are. Hello, little one. Yeah, you're so scary. Emily is wondering, what is the age range of a sub-adult? Well, it's basically teenage years, Emily. Like this little one making all the noise and nonsense walking past us now. Yeah, you're a sub-adult. So it's the sort of the teenage years are what we consider a sub-adult. Because elephants have a very sort of similar length lifespan to human beings. Oh, there we go. We're going to have some playing. Let's push each other around. Let's hold each other's trunks. So, teenagers. Being teenagers. Oh, yeah, literally for almost 360 degrees, there are elephants around us, but a lot of them have now moved into the trees and are starting to feed. There are 5 or 6 left here around the edge of the dam and on the dam wall. Or 7 actually. No? 7, yes. 7 elephants left. Quite a few young boys. There are some adult females in the back. Oh, more elephants coming in. They could be from a different family group. So we might see a little bit of a greeting ceremony happening. There we go, you can hear them starting to keep. That's what I was talking about. See, suddenly they're starting to talk. You can hear all the talking. An elephant catch up. It's quite difficult to see because it's happening behind the other ellies. But I'd say they're a member of this herd. I recognize that female who got separated. And it just looks like she's after that initial. And she's just joined in. I've seen that. I have that little one there off to the right. That's the one that was making the noise. Now you look like cheeky. Oh, look at the one swimming. One's decided to go right into the water. Have a proper swim. Oh! Now let's see if one swimming will prompt some of the other young bulls to come into the water. Oh, there we go. We could be in for some fun and games here. Alicia says, when they play, do the sub-adults pull ears and tails? Well, normally it's more like this, trunk wrestling, pushing each other a little bit. Sometimes it can get a little bit aggressive, but normally it's quite gentle. The young boys, as they get to 14, 15, can start playing a little bit more aggressively, as teenage boys will. But look at that, isn't that sweet? Oh! Flop, flop. Look at that. Now, it's often what happens with elephants is when one or two start swimming, it can prompt all the other teenage boys to also start swimming. It's quite warm already this morning, so an early morning dip. I'm sure the water's nice and cool. But you'll find elephant bulls will swim a lot more readily than females. There we go, see number 3 and 4 coming into the fray. Not wanting to miss out on all the fun. Isn't that cute? Oh, let's climb on him. That's it. all just playing and having a great time. It's a tangle of elephants in the water. Look at that, just the legs sticking out. Oh, so much fun. I'm going to move the vehicle a little bit so we can not get the bull bar in the way. Well, while we just get ourselves into a good position, Steve's got a fluffy antelope.
Yes, we do. Talking about swimming elephants, how marvellous is that? We have found some waterbuck, young group of males that have come down to drink. Something has alerted them. I'm not sure what it is. We had some oxpeckers a moment ago just take off on the right-hand side. It's caused them all to look up. But they're going to slowly go back to drink. What a reflection that is on the water. Marvellous that we found these waterbuck. There's a female that has come onto the dam wall, and that is what's got the male's attention. Of course, a young female has just come up onto the dam wall. Let's see if... Okay, it's just behind the bush there. You can just see her through the bushes. These are all quite young males, really. None of them, I would say, are any dominant. Just moving around, drinking. You never find them too far from water. Waterbucks, as the name waterbuck implies, they need a lot of water. They actually need probably double the amount of water that a buffalo needs, and they're not even a third. Maybe they're about a third the weight of a buffalo, and yet they need double the water requirements. So the most water dependent of the animals we find out here. And there's some interest in this young female. Is she interested herself? He's going to have a little sniff. Let's watch if he tests the urine and does a little phlegm and grimace. There we go. Look at the phlegm and grimace. Where's the reproductive status of this female? Ooh. Let's have another look, shall we? Here we go, the second one. He's interested to see where she is on the reproductive status. There we go. Isn't that marvellous? By lifting that top lip, they're activating the organ of Jacobson, which is found in the roof of the mouth, and any chemical signatures coming from the urine or from the urine of that female will tell the males exactly how along she is. Is she reproductive? Definitely some interest being perked in these males. Now she's going to have a go, is she? No, I thought she was going to test him. Now the third male would like to come and have a look because his friends have had a look. Why not? And the fourth male, very interested in the attention. This young lady. He's going to have a go. We might not get it all behind the bush there. There we go. There's the third one. Phlegm and grimace happening. I don't think she's too far along, because if she was, there would be some more excitement about it. Now that she's been tested, she would like to come and have a drink. Hopefully the males will allow her to do so, because it is a very thirsty antelope we have there. Okay, folks, so we're going to stay here for a moment longer, then move on to the next body of water. And while we do that, let's go to Taylor, who has found herself a very small pool of water.
We have. I've been wanting to try and find a decent pad, but we got distracted by all the big cat tracks this morning and, well, the sounds of them calling. We've got a feather, which is actually looking quite beautiful. All the little droplets on it. A feather that is no longer needed. And it's not uncommon to find things like feathers around a little pan, a natural pan, because of course things like turtle doves and laughing doves, which we were watching yesterday, all come down to drink at least once a day, if not sometimes 2 or 3 times a day too. It depends, I suppose, on how hot it is. So I think that feather is probably from something like a dove or so, maybe a bit bigger, maybe even from a go-away bird. It is quite grey. Then that's not all that's here, is that there's a moth. Looks like a moth with very, very tatty wings, and I think that this moth is at the end of its lifespan, because I can't imagine why it would be sitting out in the open like this. Yes, a lot of butterflies and moths will come down to watering holes to try and feed off the nutrients that are in the soil. We typically call it mud puddling. Butterflies do it the absolute best, but I don't know what it's doing here. You are going to get eaten. I wonder if it isn't actually dead, because I saw there was an insect sitting on top of it. Shall we see? Oh, there's a spider over here. Can you see it? No, it's at the moth. Are you going to eat the moth? I suspect that this moth really is on its way out, because there was another little insect that was on top of it, and it wasn't even moving at all. It didn't even seem too bothered that it was in fact sitting there. And these are water spiders. We see them often. They're always around here. And sometimes we watch them catch things too. And there's lots and lots of them, but they're just so camouflaged that you can't always see them. I've seen a couple racing on past. Go and eat the moth. Eat it. Attack. This is not a voice command spider, unfortunately. We have to do a better job at training. However, it doesn't seem to be too interested in that moth. Well, at the moment, perhaps it's a bit early for breakfast, but off you go, back to Brent, who's got some very happy elephants.